Good evening and welcome to IITW Radio. It is 10:21, only a few days before or not Valentine's, before Halloween. Dress your kids up in a Valentine's outfit anyways, it'll freak people out. Anyways, make sure that you drive safe. Okay, we got a lot to talk about tonight, so before I introduce the gentleman here, a lot of the stuff, if you watched the video a second ago, that went up a couple of minutes ago, actually, you'll see that I was talking about active shooters and what they do. By the time the police and stuff get there, it's just a mess. I mean, look at what happened in Parkland. So I'm going to introduce my guests tonight. I got Sherman, Mike, and Jason. These are the inventors of an app. How you gentlemen doing?
Doing well.
Doing good. Travis, thank you for having us.
They got no applause. Okay, got to give them applause, Chris. There we go. Yeah, we've had a couple of gremlins tonight, as you gentlemen have seen. It's a mess sometimes, but okay. So you guys, now, Jason, I know you're a school teacher,
Yes, sir.
and Mike.
I was a former principal and current school or district administrator.
Okay, Mr. Sherman,
And I'm a teacher also.
you're a teacher.
Yes, sir.
So you guys have firsthand knowledge of what it's like to be terrified to death if there was going to be an active shooter. So
Correct.
we're going to put a clip on. We've got a clip from this Parkland shooting, but I got to give some shout outs here real quick. Doug Williams. Oh, let's go ahead and flip this over. Thanks for the videos, by the way, Doug. I'm going to use one on Wednesday night. But this is what we run into, and I'm sure this is what terrifies you gentlemen to death. It's when you get calls like this. We're going to go ahead and play this real quick on this 911 call on the Parkland shooting.
911, what is your emergency?
Yes, I just got a call from Douglas High School. A female on the line advised they believe there's a shooter at the school.
Okay, at Douglas High School in what city?
Yes, in Parkland.
Oh, okay.
5901 Pine Island.
5901 Pine Island?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if they're working anything there. And a second-hand information from a student?
A female called in. It sounded like possible shots in the background.
Okay.
I think I heard 5 or 6 in 2 different bursts.
Okay. And you're calling from where?
I'm from Coral Springs.
Okay. Do they have a specific location or?
They just said it, Douglas. I'm going to try to. It looks like I still have an open line 911. I'm going to try to ping it.
Okay, thank you.
So she doesn't seem to be on the phone anymore, but like I said, I rebid the phone. I'm going to GPS it.
Mm-hmm. And your operator?
Is 546.
Okay. Operator N is in November 10.
Okay, I got another caller advising someone was shot in the 1200 building.
Okay.
And the GPS is showing it was just sitting at the tower across the street. So
someone shot in the 1200 building. Hang on 1 minute. You guys have rescue going out, correct?
We have rescue, but they won't be able to go until they're cleared down.
Right.
And they're still hearing gunshots on other calls.
Okay. So we're receiving multiple calls at this time.
We're getting multiple calls, yes. I'm landline with BSO relaying information. Yes, please.
Okay. And we have one patient that we know at this point.
We have one confirmed patient at this time, but we're not sure exactly how many.
Okay. At the 1200 building is the only one we have so
At the
far.
1200 building.
Okay.
Diana, before you pick up, intercom, news team assemble.
Okay, we got units responding, okay?
Okay, very good.
I think we're getting calls at this end as well, but thanks for the relay.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, that's probably one of the saddest calls that nobody ever wants to hear. but just sitting there listening to it, I was starting to get anxiety over it. Now that took 3 minutes from the time that gentleman called for her to say, "I've got police on the way." Now, explain to me how this app is going to cut that time down, because in the video here, or in the audio there, you hear him saying, "Well, what building is he in? Where is he at? What's going on?" Gathering the information. But I've already seen this app, so for you listening. Hello, Jolie and Carrie, and I'll give other shout outs in a little bit. You guys have a ton of people listening. Martha wrote in and said 3 minutes wasted. So tell me about the app you guys have now.
So, I listened to that same call, and one of the things they said there was secondhand information. That's one of the things that kind of stuck out there. And with our app, there's no secondhand information because it's all confirmed by school staff. So it kind of alleviates the time that they wasted there trying to get correct information, But the biggest thing with our app is we're trying to actually prevent this from ever getting to this level. And if it gets to this level, we have the ability to react to it, in a more timely manner. But that's the biggest thing that I've noticed in that whole call there.
Right. Basically, Travis, what occurs with our app is it starts at the student level, and the student makes the report. Then a teacher confirms what's going on. Once that teacher confirms what's going on, it automatically sends notification out to everyone in the building to if it is a threat or a school shooter. Once that teacher confirms, the app responds saying, "Go to lockdown situation." It isn't an intercom. It isn't anything. It is immediate. The speed, once that teacher confirms the response or what's going on, students and staff can react on that campus. There isn't the waiting, so at least kids are getting to safety at that point.
Well, yeah, and also, Travis, one of the things that we realized that most of the eyes that's going to see things even before administration and teachers are the students. And having this app available and also in a place where it can be confirmed. So with those extra eyes and ears, the communication is always going to be efficient and timely, because seconds can save lives.
So now let me get this straight. So the student will have an app on their phone, and the teachers will have an app. The principal, the administrators. So everybody will have this app on their phone that anybody that, that's on the school grounds could just even hit it. Even law enforcement, correct? Could hit the app. Put up the app again and let me get it's called My Safe School. So, and it's not just for active shooters, though. This is for everything. I know Jason was explaining to me, or one of you guys before the show, I believe it was Jason, that right now if somebody pulls a fire alarm, the students have to sit in the classroom until it's been confirmed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, correct.
And that sounds awful dangerous.
Yeah. And the reason they do that also, Travis, is because some active shooters will pull the alarm to bring all of the people out. Those are open targets. So now they have to take the time to confirm that it is an actual alarm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gentlemen explain to me on the app here that's scrolling in front of us. Here's the main screen. This is what you would see on your phone, or the students or the principal or the teachers, correct?
Jason, why don't you go through?
Yeah, I'll run through it real quick. So this is the main screen of the app, and it basically, there's a student level and then a teacher and admin level of this that looks like this. And basically when a student presses the fire button, it gives notification to teachers and admin on the building that there's a fire, and at that point they have the ability to either confirm or reject it based on if there's actual fire or not. So that's how fire works. And then once it's confirmed, once it's confirmed by a teacher or admin on staff, then it's going to go report to first responders directly also. So then they're having fire on their way.
So this is the next part. Are you sure you want to raise a fire alert?
Yes.
That would be pushed by the teacher then.
Yeah, well, no, that's a student has that ability, and then we put a text box in there so they can kind of, even though it uses geolocation, it also has the ability text box so they can narrow down the location, so we can, get help to them quicker. They can put a room number, like they were saying, the 1600 building or something on that 911 call, so they can further put more information there. So teachers that are readily close can actually report to a faster location, even though, like I said, it does use geolocation. So when they hit the OK button, now the text box is optional, but it helps get respond quicker, of course. So when we hit the OK, it sends out alert to everybody that this is the help screen they're showing right now, but it sends an alert out to everybody as far as the students goes out to teachers and admin, and then when they're alerted to it, once they confirm that there's a threat or a fire, they hit the accept button and it goes out to everyone on campus to let them know to follow fire drill procedures at that time.
Let me stop you 1 second, Jason. You got for the people writing in that has questions, we are going to try to get to all your questions, even if we have to go over a little bit tonight. I don't care. On the radio station, I can do this. If you gentlemen don't mind hanging out, because you've got a ton of questions pouring in.
Definitely.
But we are going to try to get to all your questions, so just hang in there. If we don't jump on it right away, we're going to try to get them all answered the best we can. So,
Right, Travis, if you go once the help button or once the fire button, if you go to the screen, if you go to the screen that shows Hank's name on it, that's what
okay, we're just going to adjust the mics a little bit. I want to make sure everybody hears everybody on this, because this is so important. If this was a rock star, I'd just hand him a shot at tequila and tell him to fall backwards. But I think this is very important, and I want the people out there. They were saying they were having a little bit of problem hearing you. So, okay, I'm sorry, gentlemen. We'll pick it up from there.
Yeah, if you go to the notifications, there you go. What happens, whether it's the fire, the threat, the help, the fight is a little bit different, and I'm sure Jason will get into that. But what happens is the notification pops up once it's confirmed by a teacher. So these are just notifications, but in actual time, what'll happen is then it would say proceed to fire drill location.
And like the check marks on that one, the check mark means it's been confirmed by an adult on campus, either a teacher or admin. So that means it's been confirmed. At that point, it goes to everybody on campus.
So as soon as you confirm it with that little green check there, then that goes out to everybody on campus, students, teachers, and everybody that's out there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Also, as well as the fire department and sheriff's department and that. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the first responders. That's something we have to work with each individual county on, setting up.
Right. Each county has we would have to establish a different agreement with each county, since that's run by it's a separate entity from the school. Currently, our MySafe School app would work within the school environment to move the students to safety as quick as possible. And once we get registered with the district, we would move in working with that county. So like here in Putnam, if we worked with the Putnam County School District, then we would set up a separate agreement with the sheriff's office and the fire through the county commission. This is part of what we're kind of battling against and trying to figure out, moving through the different systems in trying to get this app in place.
Okay, let's answer a couple of these questions. I know we're going to be jumping around here, but it's something because I'm going to get lost in all these questions. It says, can parents, Diane wrote in and said, can parents get the app so that they are aware also?
The parents have a side of the app that basically allows administrator to contact them directly and send them an alert from the school. The way we designed it, we're all teachers and educators here, so we, the best case scenario is to handle the situation at the school in a quick and timely manner, and then there will be a message coming from the school administration explaining what's going on and what's happened. But I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a delay on that side, yes.
Okay. Martha wrote in and says, is it push notification that the teachers receive? Who decides if if it should be confirmed.
Whoever sees the fire or threat or whatever will be the one that confirms it. And the way it's set up too, it also works on the computers. The school computer in the classroom will have notifications on it also. It's similar to an Amber Alert. So if a teacher's teaching, she'll be able to, hear the notification go off. She'll see on her screen what's going on. Either it's a fire or a threat, and then he or she can do what's needed to move to the next step. So.
And also, Travis, what happens is if a student sees something that is a threat, and they immediately contact an adult, and that adult has that ability to hit accepts that this is an actual threat, and so that's when the message is sent out to follow procedures. So as far as parents, one of the things that happens most of the times when there's a crisis, kids on their cell phone calling parents already. And one of the last things we want to happen with that is that parents come to the school making a situation more difficult. So what this app does is bring a sense of calm to the parents and comfort of saying, okay, everything's under control. First responders are there. My child is okay. But to have them come up there because to come get their kids, which is a natural response, they can get in the way. And so to eliminate that and also keep calm to the parents, those administrators will send out those messages immediately to the parents.
Now, does this app also include, I don't know if you guys have been answered this. I know I saw it, you guys are on First Coast News and Action News and stuff, but they didn't give you very long. That's why I wanted to give you guys the whole hour tonight, because that's how important I feel that this is. Now, in the Parkland case, the kid went in, he pulls the fire alarm, he walks in, shoots the place up, and walks back out with the other students. Is there a way on this app that they can take a picture of the shooter, and then that way the teachers or the police or whoever knows who it is?
Yeah, on the help function, the one he has up right now, they're able to upload a picture, and also they could name a student's name or something in there if they wanted to be more specific, because that's definitely something that has happened. And they would be able to submit it, and it would go to all teachers and men on the campus immediately, as far as if that was the situation.
That is so kick-ass. That would save so much time. Like they were so confused during the Parkland shooting that they didn't know who it was, where he was. You got some people trying to describe it, but I know from being in law enforcement years ago, 99% of the people, 2 seconds after something happens, they cannot identify them. But with them being able to take a picture or put the description up there or exact location, I mean, look at the time there. That was 3 minutes. How many kids could be shot in a 3-minute period?
That's right.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's
And,
right.
and the unique thing about the app, if someone sees him in the hall before he starts firing, if an adult, they can send the alert out immediately to everyone, and it works on the classroom computers. It could be downloaded on the Chromebooks, iPads. If you have the smart watches, things of that nature, you can get that alert immediately. So it's a multi device app is the way it was designed, because some kids do the watches, some have their iPads or tablets. So no matter what device you're using, it's going to work at the school.
Now, is this app active right now?
Yes, our app is active and fully functioning at the moment. Yes.
So if a parent wanted to get this app for their student, could they go ahead and start using it now, or is this something you have to get permission from the school board and go through a bunch of bureaucratic bullcrap?
What we're doing currently is working with school districts, from the school board level, superintendent levels. We're working with the state legislators. Hank, one of our sales representatives, he's in Tallahassee. Starting tomorrow, he'll be there throughout the end of the week. So we're approaching this from multiple different angles and levels, trying to get the app going in school districts, whether the state picks it up as a whole state or if each individual district picks it up on their own.
Right. It will not be available just for individual parents as of yet. It is basically for schools, and any parent that's tied to the school will have the app.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that's going to operate. So if their child is there at the school, they will have that access to the app and be in communications. The other thing too that you have, if a parent has kids at several school sites, those are individual entities which have a connection also. So it's there to really comfort the parents, because we're parents ourselves, and we know what it's like to not know what's going on with our child. It's a terrifying, painful place to be. And having that information and having that connection where the school is communicating with me, first responders are communicated to, the children are being communicated to, we're all in one place to where now we have a chance to cut down the chances of loss.
And the best thing about it too, if a parent's really wanting the app and they see the benefit in it from their child, they need to contact their school board members. They need to contact their superintendent, send them an email, contact the school principal, and share the information. You know, because they got to understand that, you know, that's part that we need this, and it's kind of, you know, it's really important, and that's the biggest part.
Let me stop you guys right there. For the people writing in, freaking out, no, there is not an active shooter right today. The reason I labeled that active shooter is because this is one of the main key functions that I feel is most important for this app. And the thing is, you guys and gals need to share right now with everybody, that your friends, and get them on there and get them supporting this app. I'm telling you, this app, we just listened to a call at the beginning of the show, and it took 3 minutes for the dispatcher at 911. Now, I love our people at 911, but that is just too stinking long for a kid to be. And at that time, the kid is already in the high school and shooting, and that shooting only lasted, what, 5 minutes? Less than 5 minutes.
Right.
So, I mean, by the time the call went to 911 and the cops got out there, the kid was already outside walking out of the building.
Right.
And that seems to be the way it is with a lot of these, you know, the shootings. They're already in and out by the time the officers get there. I remember the one, they had to go down the street and find him, you know, on a few of them. And they're already out of the area at that time. And here you got kids laying there dead. This would cut and save so much time and so many lives by the teachers just being able, if I have this correct now, a student sees somebody come on campus with a gun, and all of a sudden he pushes something, he or she, they, however you want to be politically correct, gender correct, whatever it is. I'm not correct, so it doesn't matter. People can get pissed off at me if you want. But the kid sees somebody walk on the school campus, and all of a sudden they've got a gun. He pushes the app. The teacher sees it, can look out the window, look out the hallway, sees the kid with a gun, and then can alert it that quick. I mean, as fast as I said it, that's, what, 6 seconds? That could be actually be done that fast?
Correct.
So that's going to save, you know, I mean, what if that would have happened down in Parkland? I mean, could the teachers have went and locked the doors? Because I know there was people that saw him walking into the building.
Exactly, they could have locked the school down
That's
before
right.
he ever got in there.
That's right. Get out of line of sight.
What is this one? It says, okay, Doug wrote, said, go back up. If the threat is a student with the app, is it possible that he or she could send false information identifying an innocent person as the threat?
Well, the thing is, when they push the threat button, we use confidential, not anonymous, for one thing. So everybody's assigned a number to where it can be identified in an event of. Plus, it uses geolocation, so we know where that person's at. So if a student's doing a false alert, let's say they're at the mall and they want to do a false alert, we're going to know right away they're at the mall. You know, you cannot send an alert without your geolocation on. Just for those things, is, you know, in school system, we can't use anonymous because we would spend most of the day chasing our tail. You know, so we have to, you know, we built this to where it functions in the school system to be efficient.
Hello, Kimmy, Rosie, Martha. I'll get to the rest of you. If I miss you on a shout out, I'm sorry. The thing's scrolling too fast. I've got Chris with the brakes on it right now. It wouldn't do any good without the teachers having the app. So that's what they were writing in before. Can they get the app? Well, it wouldn't do any good if the teachers didn't have it. Now I talked to Rick Surrency, and he had asked me to give you a message to call him. Did you in fact get a hold of Rick Surrency at the school board?
I called and left him a message. He was supposed to contact me back. In the meantime, Travis Weaver, the school safety director, has contacted me, and they're currently on the demo side of our app, looking into it. They actually seen it on the news last week and reached out to us. So as of right now, Travis Weaver's looking into it. I haven't heard back from Mr. Surrency yet.
Okay. Rick, I know you're listening. I know your staff is listening. You need to get a hold of this man. I know, but in all fairness to Rick, I do like Rick Surrency. They were up in Washington, as most of the county officials and state officials this week. Martha wrote in, and I could probably answer this one. It says, how can we as parents and grandparents lobby the governor to implement statewide? First thing you need to do is get a hold of your local representatives. Okay? Get a hold of Yoho. Get a hold of your state representatives. Get a hold of all of them. Hell, call them up, Democrat and Republican. Call them up, and then start pounding the governor's office. Just start calling up there and leaving message. Email the government. This is something that shouldn't go through a bunch of bureaucracy. That should take years and years and years to get done. Our elected officials have the power to do this in a matter of minutes. With just a stroke of this pen, they could do it. And if they don't have one, gentlemen, I'll give you a pen. Won't be as fancy as Donald Trump's is, but my daughter's actually working tonight, or watching, and she's working. Cheyenne, Sue, hello, Yvette, Michelle. We got a ton of people watching you, gentlemen. Okay, next question. Tracy wrote in. I know Tracy. Is it a busy signal if anything happens at the school due to parents calling if emergency? Let me start all over it. Is it busy signal if anything happens at the school due to parents calling if emergency, something like this would absolutely help parents? This the things, where did it go to? I'm sorry, the screen's shifting. We have to stop it. Help parents better know the situation.
Yeah, exactly. With the parent notification, it would fully inform them of what's going on coming from the school administrator, so they would be able to know if they need to pick up their child, or if there's a situation that was handled, or alternative directions on what they need to do, a certain number they need to call in order to get more information. Because that's the problem too. You get so many people calling the school that nobody will be able to get through. With our app, the parents will have a version that will allow them to get messages from the school on what needs to happen.
Okay. Let's see. Here's another one. It says, I was talking about if the active shooter was in the building and pushed the alert button and took a picture of an innocent student and identified them as the shooter, they would both be on site according to geolocation, but the picture would be of the wrong person.
That's why we have the built-in confirmation by teachers or administration. So if a student sends a false report, the nearest adult isn't going to confirm the situation.
Right.
And now this would go, custodians would have this, you would have the on-campus officers, you'd have students having it, teachers having it,
Right.
administrators at the school having it,
Correct.
That's
plus
right.
the students. So I guess if there was, and I've seen these kids at schools, I mean, they take a picture, you don't have just one picture, you have 10 or 15 kids taking pictures, so it would probably be easy to identify, what was going on.
Yeah, if somebody
Hello,
has a gun,
Diane.
that'd be easy to identify.
Terry and Brandy. I have to give my shout outs to
That's
listeners.
all right.
Because they're the ones that are going to be pushing this app for you guys and for the students. And this is so kick ass, man. I thank you guys so much for coming up with this app. Now, how did you guys meet, and what made you decide to come up with this?
So, all this basically began back in February 14th of 2018 was the day of the Parkland shooting. I was blessed on the day before that we actually gave birth to my beautiful daughter, in at Putnam Hospital and Palatka, Palatka Hospital, and we were celebrating such a great day, and the birth of our daughter, and telling everybody about it, and then the next day, we're still in the hospital, just enjoying her, and then all the news started coming through about the Parkland shooting, and I started watching all that stuff on the TV, on the news right away, all over Facebook, and let's get this, just a huge wave of fear came across me. My son at that time was in 10th grade. I got this beautiful daughter just born, so I had, just a whole bunch of emotions, and I'm like, if something was to happen to me, I seen where, a coach got killed, a teacher got killed, and students were getting killed, and every day our students are like our kids, we'll take a bullet for them too if we got to,
Sure.
and so when I came back to school, I kind of had the idea, and Sherman and me and Sherman share office, and I said, I have this idea, about this app. We need to create it because, we need to do something about this. And a lot of stuff out there comes from outside of a school where security companies are trying to figure out how to make a school safe. And they don't really understand the inner workings of how a school works. And, even though the threat is the biggest thing that happens, not the biggest thing on school safety, but there's lots of things going on. So I tried to make it, design it to where it functions every day, not just for a school shooting. I wanted to try to prevent the school shooting. That's why I wanted to put it in the students' hands. So a lot of times they hear what's going on before we could ever even begin to fathom, something going on. And if we could get that information beforehand, we can, possibly stop it, or, plan is to stop it and save lives. So that's kind of how that started. And then me and Sherman talked over a lot, and then he thought it was a really good idea. And then Mr. Elliott at that time was administrator at school, so I wanted to get an administrator's point of view on it, see what they thought about it. He loved it, so we kind of just started bouncing ideas off each other's heads, and started, trying to put it together. What can function every day and help us in the school system.
Now, with some of the laws now that are coming out, I know there's some that are going to come out that are allowing the teachers to carry guns on campus. This would also save time too if you have armed people on campuses that don't have to wait for the sheriff's department. For you people that don't approve of this, you can kiss my butt because I don't care. Any second that a teacher can stop or somebody can stop an active shooter, if you don't think teachers should be armed and be able to protect the students, don't write in and waste my time. And whoever wrote in about the peanut butter sandwich, kiss my ass. I don't even want to talk to you. You're stupid. Doug wrote in and said, this is a great idea. Please make sure it gets implemented. Arm the teachers. Where did I go? Arm the teachers that are willing also. And active shooters should have active response. She said, Diane says, you mentioned that the teachers would be given individual numbers to access the app. Could a student put in another student's number and call in a threat?
No. Once they log in, they cannot log into another device. Every student has to be confirmed through the system that they're actually a student at the school. They're a parent of a student at the school. So, we've taken a lot of measures to make sure that, to the best of our ability, that nothing like that's going to happen.
Right. Let me clarify some of that. What happens is each district has multiple schools, so each school will be set up individually. Once that school is set up, students are pretty much identified by their student number. The student number will be listed in a database. The teachers will be listed by name and room number in that same database. With that database, then the admin team or the designee on that campus will confirm each of those that they're active students in the school. Then the app will be allowed to go active on their own device. Also, once something is turned in, whether it's a fire, help, then the school administration would be able to know exactly who triggered that alarm.
Okay, and also, does it work off of IP or IP addresses as well?
It works on
So they can be pinged, like say it's a false report or a kid's calling in a bomb threat. They can be pinged off of that, but through a tower where that kid's
Well, the
at
thing is, what's
as
on
well.
geolocation, so we'll be able to locate where they're at. The other side of it is I lost where I was going on that.
Yeah.
That's all right. Let's put
Yeah.
put the app back up there, Chris, again. The face of the app, because there's some more questions coming in about. Hello, Darren. Oh, Darren Anderson. He's a big old man. I should have had him in here. Put that guy on the school campus. He'll whip some ass. Nobody will even be able to get around him to even go do anything. Now you have several other buttons on here. You have explaining buttons. We've got the fight we haven't covered. The fire we've pretty much covered. I mean that's pretty simple there. The help button now, that is that for the you were explaining to me before, Jason, that
Well, the help button for students can be anything from students being bullied and they want to report it to teachers and admin so they could get help with the situation. It could be the situation where students feeling suicidal and they want to get reaching out for help in that way. It could be just a tip that could be where somebody's threatening to do something and they heard it and it needs to be looked into, and and that's kind of where we're trying to be on the proactive side and prevent it. So we're hoping, we have a lot of great students on campus. 90% of the campus is good students. They're going to give us the information that we need beforehand in order to, save lives and stuff like that. So it's a multi-function button for a student. Like I said, the biggest thing is, like I said, bullying, suicide, and then tips is the main reason for the help button for students. For teachers on that level, the help button could be a medical emergency in a classroom. It could be just them needing an administrator or some help in their classroom with a student or something of that nature would be what the help would be used for as a teacher. The fight button, we have some good students that let us know, if a fight's going on campus, or even teachers can let other teachers know there's a fight so we can respond to it as quick as possible. The threat button works similar to the fire, where a student sends out a threat button that's confirmed by teachers and admin on the staff. Once they confirm it, it goes out to everybody. Now, if a teacher sends out a threat button, it goes out instantly to everybody. So if a teacher sees somebody coming on the campus, they can send that threat button and lock down the campus, in a matter of about 2 to 3 seconds. Everybody on that campus will get an alert. So,
well, the fight ones, that's a big thing. Every school has fights. I know that knives are slipped in because, face it, we still don't have metal detectors, but yet, and I'm not going to start bashing our government, but you go to any courthouse, any school buildings, superintendent's buildings where there's government officials, they all have metal detectors. But you walk into schools, they don't have them. I don't think that it's right that, I can walk into a superintendent's school building and all of a sudden I've got to go through 4 doors, 2 metal detectors before I get there. Same with the courthouse. But yeah, these students coming in, so it's easy to slip a knife in.
Yep.
Or a gun as far as that goes. And even some of the knives, they're not going to pick up these plastic knives that they have. I've seen those on a few things that I've covered. But once a kid comes in with a knife or something and starts stabbing and they put a fight up, that's going to save a lot of time too, because that's not an active shooter. It's going to be just like a fight.
Yep.
So, but the teachers have the option at that button to hit the threat button as well, is correct?
yes. And
So-
that's the thing too, you walk into a bank and a bank has a button if they're getting robbed, they're going to notify police right away. But we don't protect our students the same way we protect our money, the way we protect our government officials or anybody like that. And the question is, why do we not protect our students that way?
Now, here's a good question. It came in from Martha. It says, would this work for football games and organized functions as well?
Exactly. As a coach and for track and football and those experiences, I think a lot of times we think about what's going on during school, but the activities that happens after school is just as important, because we still have these student athletes and these parents concerned about their kids, and anything can happen during that time. And so the app is outstanding for that. They have to have protocol in place. Let's, for example, if we had a football practice and there's an active shooter, Okay, well, how will the football coach know? Well, how will the students know? How would you know what to do? But with this app, because all the coaches will have it and the kids will have it, someone will be notified to follow the procedures that make sure that those students and these parents or coaches are safe. And so at a football game and at any function after school, the app is there. And it will do the same thing as far as getting in touch with first responders, parents, and alerting everyone there. It's almost like I wouldn't call it an all-seeing eye. We don't want to say that, but it is a communication tool that is very fast and efficient.
Well, I know from coaching, I've been a coach in the past, is that when you get rival teams that show up, you also get with the rival teams, you get rival students.
That's right.
And the police would be on one end of the field, and then all of a sudden you got people fighting over on the other end, and they know not to start crap in front of the cops.
Right.
So any of the teachers that are walking around, that would have been great for when I was a coach, because the parents could have seen it back then, and the parents could have activated it, because I've been to some nasty brawls at some of the places, schools that, we've coached. For some reason, they just didn't like our boys, and they didn't like them either. But, I mean, that would be a great thing for that, too, as well.
Correct.
So, okay. Now, again, how do you guys think that these people, what can these readers and listeners do to help you guys out? I guess that's the big question.
Share.
Because you got a lot of people backing you, trust me.
Share.
There's a ton of them writing in.
They need to share it with their legislators. They need to share it with their school board members. They need to share it with their superintendents. The more the word gets out, we're hoping that the app will move quickly through different school districts.
A vet says this is a great idea. Are you hiring someone to put the database together? I don't know. I think she's trying to get a job here.
The database is basically pulled off of the school, whatever system the school uses, because we just cut and paste the student numbers. The beauty, and I'm glad she asked about the database, because the beauty of the database is now you have student-driven data, meaning the student's alert is basically a checkbox for an administrator to have to work through a process or a problem, especially with the help button. The help button works, if a student's being bullied, the administration gets that, and they have that, and then they can work from the data that the students are giving them.
Yeah, not just one person on those campus gets that information if they're being bullied or they're suicidal or there's a threat. You have every teacher and administration on the campus getting that information. So some of these, a lot of these students have good relationships with their teachers, and they'll share information with them that they won't share with other people. And it could be I need to speak to Mr. Wager about this, or I'm having this problem or that problem. They're able to get help. That's the biggest thing.
And also, if Jason can expound on a situation that happened where communication was important and we were able to get a serious problem resolved. But if it was not for communication and I want to say trust, it probably could have went the other way. If you want to expound on that situation on that day, if you can remember that.
Well, my first, I don't know, it's probably my second or third year teaching. I had a student come to me right after lunch and inform me of another student having a gun on campus, and I took that information. I happened to know that student was in Sherman Smith's class, and I got him immediately and said we need to find a student. The thing is, he notified during lunch mod, he notified the administrator, the closest administrator, and they were able to find a student, and that administrator checked the student and found there was no gun or nothing like that, and they actually sent the student back to class. Between classes, the student come in and into my class, and Sherman Smith seen him at the same time I did. He took him to another administrator's office, and that administrator didn't know nothing about the report of the gun, and him, by knowing me and knowing the kind of relationship I have with my students, that I wasn't getting false information, he was able to take that information and find a gun on another student within about 10 or 15 minutes. So, with that's the problem at school. A lot of people don't understand when a teacher's in their classroom and their doors are shut and locked and everything, they don't really know what's going on outside that room. They could be a shooting at the other end of the campus and they would never even know. But with our app, we can notify the whole campus that there's a shooter, and we need to be, prepared for that. Where, that's the biggest thing, is allowing them to be able to communicate with everybody on campus if something's going on.
And also, I think the average school is about 40 acres. It's a little bit easier to cover that amount of acreage with more eyes when you have all those students and teachers versus 2 or 3 people.
Yeah, with radios on campus.
Yeah, with radios. And then if power goes out, then that's another hurdle there. But the app is designed to kind of cross over some things that could be obstacles, and still get effective communication quick.
Okay, for you that are writing in and are wanting to know how you get more information on this, you can email questions to info@mysafeschoolsapp.com. And it's right on. If you're listening on YouTube, you can click over to IITW Radio on Facebook, or the Putman Way on Facebook, or you can go over to Twitter, or you can call 1-866-796-9277 for more information. Scroll back down here, Chris. Take it up to the top here. Diane wrote in and said, will this be implemented in all Putman County schools if all goes as planned? Hopefully.
We would love to have it in the Putnam County schools.
Yeah,
Yes.
immediately. Like I said, we're talking to them, so if we get a little help from the public, we're getting the word out that it's something that you want to see in your student's school, or if you're a teacher and you want it in your classroom, you definitely need to let your superintendent know, let your school board members know about it, and that's going to be the biggest thing. Like I said, with school systems, everything moves slow when it comes to getting things like this implemented, and that's one of the things we've been up against since the beginning. So
Okay.
we're trying to streamline a little bit.
You can also sign up for a free demo at mysafeschoolsapp.com.
Yep.
And now, another question that came in, which is a good question. Some of these apps that are out only run from the time the school is open in the morning till it shuts down. How long does this app run? I mean, is it 24 hours a day it's up?
We've talked to different school districts, and different school districts, that's something that they're deciding how long they would want the app up for. Some of them want it strictly during school hours, and some that we've talked to should be a 24-hour.
Yeah, our ultimate goal is
year.
to have it 24 hours a day. At a certain time, it probably just rolls straight over to first responders. But a lot of cyberbullying goes on after school, so we feel like if a student's feeling suicidal and they're at their house and they're asking for help, I don't want to see nobody not receive the help that they need, especially if they're asking for it. So we're willing to do whatever it takes to to ensure safety of students. And if it comes down to we're having to notify law enforcement and do a welfare check, or them calling if they're suicidal, calling the suicide hotline, or whatever we got to do. If it's something going on with bullying that can wait till the next day at school, then they can do a report then, and then the next day protocol will be for the school admin to work through if there's something bullying going on, that we can handle that during the day. So
Here's another good question. I've got several questions I know we're going to go over. So if you get cut off on YouTube, you're going to need to click over to The Putman Way on Facebook, or IITW Radio on Facebook, or you can go to IITWradio.com. Another question coming is about how much would it cost the counties? Now, I know that's going to be hard to answer because you guys have got a lot to put into the apps as the apps grow And but real quick, I wanted to jump back on the other part about the 24 hours a day. I know when you just mentioned it about the suicide thing, I know that we've had six in the last 2 years, 7 kids that have committed suicide. And I know a lot of the teachers. Steve Cummings up there at Crescent City High School, he's one of the best teachers I've ever seen. I know my daughter, and I'm just saying this, I'm not just isolating him out, but he's the one that I know that my kids, I've never heard them say anything bad about. And I know my daughter and my son have gone and talked to him about problems that they've had. It seems like this would be a great app for some of the teachers. So could they actually notify a teacher directly on this app?
Well, they can put their name in there, and basically it's going to go to all teachers and admin. But if they want to talk to a specific teacher, then that's why they have the text box in there, so they can put that information in there that I need to speak to Mr. Cummings or whatever about a problem that I have, or I'm feeling suicidal. And that's the thing. I feel like every teacher, like I said, we consider our students like our kids. I call them my kids every day. If something's going on with one of my kids, I'm going to do whatever I can to help them.
Now, are students going to remain anonymous? I know that, like in the Parkland shooting and most of the other shootings, there's been ample time and pre-warnings and all kinds of stuff showing that this was building up to this. With this app, they could actually, where they can't get a hold of the sheriff's department, or they're afraid to, because a lot of these students don't want the retaliation. They don't want to be called out because they don't want to be the first one that gets capped when they walk in the door. With this particular app, would the student remain anonymous, or is this something that it's going to have to be given out later? Because it seems like this would be a great thing that, these kids, they know what's going on. The teachers get hid. A lot of stuff gets hid from you teachers.
That's right.
And from the parents. But these students, they know who is the nut jobs. They know who they're watching on Facebook. And like with the kid in Parkland, there was people that knew, way before any of the adults did, this guy was going to go batshit crazy. So can the students remain anonymous on this?
Well, we use confidential because, like I said, they don't register by their name. They register by their student number. So that would be the only thing that would actually come through would be their student number. So the only way anybody would have the ability to find out who they are, they'd have to be a district official. Actually look them up through the district informational system.
So they can safely convey information without any fear.
Yes.
Tell you what, one of my friends is on here now, Lee Dandridge. All you'd have to do is you guys could do away with the app. Just stick her at every school. She will whoop anybody's ass that comes on campus. She scares the hell out of me, and I'm not afraid of nothing. I had to do that to you, Lee. Sorry about that. Jason, you were telling me, because I had asked you about a story I'd read up in Jacksonville, up in Orange Park, of a guy that was running around and they had a lockdown happen, and the guy was on campus for how long? You want to tell us about that?
Well, we actually never went into lockdown in that situation. We had a situation where another guy was chased onto our campus. He was a fugitive, being chased by a bounty, basically a bounty hunter that had a gun, and a couple of students seen them right away when they run on campus and heard him screaming, and they notified their closest teacher, which is a good friend of mine, and he took them, put them in the classroom, locked them in, and he started calling the school, main number, trying to get a hold of somebody, let them know what's going on. And long story short, before anybody, as far as administration or anybody, knew what was going on, he done made it to the center of our school during the middle of lunch, and we have an outside courtyard at our school, and he made it in there before anybody actually knew what was going on. And the teacher tried numerous times to call the front office, and then eventually made his way to the front office, and they, unfortunately didn't really, at that time they had already apprehended the guy, but we never went into any kind of lockdown or anything over that situation, where if the teacher would have had the app on his phone, he could have locked down the whole campus in a matter of about 2 to 3 seconds, and everybody would have went in lockdown. And, there's a good possibility everything went well that day as far as apprehending the guy, but it could have went the other way real easily too.
I mean, yeah, he could have taken hostages or...
Exactly.
At that point, so how long was before he went on the campus?
Well,
and was on there?
Yeah, he was on there probably a good 5 or 6 minutes before anybody actually, before any teachers or I'm sorry, administration or the law enforcement found him. He had made it to the center of our campus.
So you've got is 5 minutes there. If a 911 was called, you got another 3 minutes just before they even contact anybody.
Yep.
So, but with this app, it would be instant.
About 2 to 3 seconds, that everybody on campus would have known to go into lockdown, because the teacher seen it, would have been able to confirm what was going on, and could have locked the campus down in about 2 to 3 seconds.
Man, you guys are incredible. Hello, Christina. Let's see, Lee. I already gave you a shout out. You're not getting another one. You know what, Chris? I hate to do it to her, but never mind. We'll do it. We'll do it tomorrow night or Wednesday night. Is there anything else that you guys, I know you guys have family. Jason, you have a beautiful daughter. If she wasn't, I would tell you. I'd get my ass whipped, but I would tell you it's a cute kid. Trust me, my kids look like Quasimodo and Janet Reno mix when they were born. I wouldn't take them out of the house for the first 3 months, but I know you guys have kids and stuff that you need to get to, so I don't want to tie up too much time. I do want to get you guys back on here. Hello, Ray. But I do want to get you guys back on here as soon as this app gets going a little better. So the process that you're in now is you're trying to get a hold of, well, explain the process that you're going through right now. And give me some of the downfalls of it, on like where you've run up against crap that's just keeping this thing from getting out there.
Well, currently we're working with we've reached out to different superintendents around the state. Also, we've reached out to some in Alabama. I think we've sent some things out to Georgia. We're also reaching out to the school board members in each of those districts. In addition to that, we're moving into different meetings with state legislators over in Tallahassee. Like I mentioned, Hank's over there pretty much for the remainder of the week to try to set up different meetings. And now what we're looking at is, if the public sees it and likes it, then they reach out. So when we step into those offices, it's easier for us to communicate the way the app works.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are contacting, superintendents trying to get meetings with them and things of that nature, and they have no clue who they are. And that's been one of the little downfalls we've had, is trying to get actual time to meet with, school representatives and leadership. So the biggest thing we need is the listeners to do is to reach out to their school, school superintendent, school principal, school board members and stuff like that, and maybe have them contact us, because it would help streamline things a little bit better. In Putnam County, we are in talks with them right now, but if you're in St. John's, Volusia, anywhere, around, just reach out to them and let them know what you're looking at, what or what you've seen.
And also, Travis, the one thing about teachers, every teacher goes to work every day, for one, knowing that their responsibility are those students. And we every day are prepared to lay our lives down to protect them. And to have a tool to help us be more efficient so that we could get home to our families too is a tremendous help. And because it's about students, it's about life, it's about having an opportunity to grow and prepare and contribute to society. And unfortunately, we are fighting this uphill battle of trying to find what's safe and what's best for our students. We are coming from the ground up. We're coming from in the trenches. I like the scenario when Desert Storm was going on and Colin Powell was talking, and General Swellcross said, look, let us tell you what we need and we'll win this. And when they did, we won, because the one in the trenches really have that know-how and what's going on what's needed to win. And this is what we feel we bring to the table with this app. And we really appreciate your time with us. We really do.
For you that are listening on YouTube, you're going to end in about 5 seconds, so you'll have to kick over. Oh, never mind. You're already gone. Oh, no, that's on Radio Co. We're still live on YouTube. Okay, the people on Radio Co. are pimped in. They'll figure it out. I gave them fair warning. Hello, David, Kevin, and C.W. Roberts. Now, this is a great app, and the problem with our legislators and stuff is they're not looking at it from you guys' perspective. You're in the trenches, like you said, Sherman. You're in the trenches every day, day in and day out, and you guys see what will happen, where you got some people that are sitting up behind desks and they think they know what's best, just like myself. My kids are grown up now, and, they're still not, all of them are still not out of my house. A couple of them are still in college, but I'm working on that. I can't kick them out. They're going to have to support me later on when I'm in Depends and stuff.
There you go.
But you guys are in the trenches, and like you said, every teacher that I've ever talked to, Sherman, has said the same thing that you just said. They will lay their life down for the students.
That's right.
And as a matter of fact, there has been a lot. I mean, you take any of the massive school shootings, and school shootings are not just something that started since Bush got in office or Clinton
That's right.
or Obama
That's right.
or Trump. School shootings, when you look them up, they've been going on since the early 1800s.
Wow.
When guns were first there. I was surprised when I started doing the research on it before you guys came on the air this past week, is exactly how many school shootings there have been. And it goes all the way back to 1821. And, you had 6 of them that were shot. And it's just something that I don't think is ever going to end. But I think there's ways with what you guys have come up with. I think this is a great start. And I know, and I'm sure you gentlemen know as well, this is going to save so much time. I mean, like tonight we watched this. We listened to the 911 tape. 3 minutes. I mean, 3 minutes. The shooter was just about done. And it wasn't. He didn't have an automatic rifle either. Now, he could have done the same thing with a 22. He could have done the same thing with a knife. But no matter what it is, it's not just an active shooter. It's a knife, a machete, whatever it is. Somebody going in there to wreak havoc is going to do it. But this will save so much time because you got an app. You could just, it's as quick as, well, this is the thing of the Constitution, but I use this as a phone. You just push a button. The teacher gets alerted, 10, 15 seconds later?
At the most. Once you alert the teachers, that puts them on alert, and they can quickly confirm what's going on and let everybody on the campus know.
Now, how do they get alerted? Is this something that goes, or
comes through similar to an Amber Alert? And like I said, it'll come across their desktop computer. It'll come across their phones. If they have smartwatches, it'll come across their smartwatch. If they have the volume turned off on their phone, they're still going to get a notification for it. Like I said, if they have smartwatches, it'll come across there. The biggest thing is every teacher has a computer in their classroom. So it's going to come across there. So if they're in there teaching and they're not at their computer, they're still going to get an alert right away that they need to follow procedure. Now, if you got a student that's in the restroom or something, he's going to get alert also. Maybe he needs to barricade himself in a restroom or something, something like that's going on. So
you had some a-hole just write in, or I'll call him an asshole. I told you guys I'm not politically correct. That wrote in and said, well, they should put more or to get rid of the guns, all the guns. It's never going to happen. And, I have the Second Amendment right here, and buddy, I want you to send me your address so I can send you a copy of this. Go to page 33, and you'll find the Second Amendment. I'm not crazy. I love my guns. My guns are to protect my family, so you're not going to get rid of them, so kiss my ass. But the thing is that what you said is it'll cost too much to get rid of the guns. That's never going to happen. But like Martha and who was the other one? It was I'm just going to give 2 examples. Jolie and Martha said, I agree with whatever it costs, it's worth it. But when you deal with bureaucrats, they want to know. The more information when you talk to them, the less waiting for an answer. Well, the thing, and we have politicians that listen to this show every night, because I could say something bad about one of them right now, and their secretary or they would be on there, no, I didn't really say this. What is the price you can put on one student's life? What is the price that you can put on 100 students' lives? Because this is never going to stop. There's no 100% way to ever stop it, unless you build a wall around the place and set up snipers and then somebody will figure out some way to harm somebody in the school.
If somebody wants to do violence, they're going to do it regardless, and
Right.
that's the sad part about it. You know.
So, I mean, this sounds like, I mean, it's a great app. Chris, can you put the thing up again for the, this is the app right here, My Safe School. And then do you have a link to the website, Chris?
It's been posted through the comments all night.
Okay, the link to the comments has been posted all night. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Mr. Sherman, Mr. Mike, Mr. Jason. You guys rock, man.
Thank you,
This is
Travis.
Great. And I know you have a lot of, you're still developing and doing all kinds of tweaking and stuff. Now, if they said yes tomorrow, how long before you, if say you went in and talked to Mr. Cernsey over here, Superintendent Rick Cernsey, and he said, let's go ahead and do this. They have a meeting next week. How long will it take you to implement this app and get it up and running?
Well, I mean, it'd be school by school inside the district, but we could probably have the first school up and running within a week. You
That's
know,
it?
That's it.
Holy crap.
We're ready. Like I said, it's just a matter of teaching the, how to use it correctly, and yeah, we'll be done.
Now, is this something you guys are going to need to go to each school and say, I mean, do you have other people that are helping you with it? Or is this something that, I
What
mean,
we're thinking, Travis, is in each district, usually the principals meet on a monthly basis. So during the principal meeting, we would go into the principals meeting and train them within 15 to 20 minutes on how to set up the database, and get the app started. We'll work with any district in getting the communication out to get students signed up for it, and we'll move forward from there.
okay. Legitimately, how long is it going to take you guys to get this in Putnam County?
It depends on Mr.
Because I'm going to
Cernsey.
call Rick tomorrow.
Depends on Mr. Cernsey.
I'm going to be all over Rick tomorrow. Rick, I love you, man, but I'm going to be all over you tomorrow.
In Putnam County, how many high schools are there? What, three? Three
Yeah,
high schools? You got
no,
Crescent, Putnam, Interlochen, or Palatka and Interlochen?
Yeah, and then that doesn't include the charter schools.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just high schools, which would probably be where we would, of course, go after first. Realistically, it's not going to take long at all to implement it. It's ready. It'll take more time to do the paperwork for it than it will to get it implemented.
Now, what about the elementary schools?
We're going to offer to every school in the district. So, even if the student doesn't have a phone, every teacher in the campus is going to have it on their phone, on their computer. If a student at school is using the computer, even though they might not have a cell phone, but a lot of students have now Chromebooks or iPads they use every day. They'll be able to log right directly into the app also, and they can send an alert out from there.
And all the parents will have the app on their phone.
Yeah, the parents will have access
So
to
they'll
the
be in
app
touch.
on the parent side.
These active shooters never walk into these middle schools. Have you ever met some of these middle school kids? Holy crap, they are mean. The police scanner goes off on the middle schools more than it does on the high schools. I don't blame them for not going in there.
Yeah, that's
You guys have got a lot of people saying thank you guys for taking the next step and helping to protect our kids. Now,
Thank you.
I've talked to you gentlemen, you're not doing this for the money. You're doing it to save lives.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I'm so impressed with. And I've had other people that's called me up and talked to me about apps, and it's like, well, we're going to make $1 million off of this app. Jason never said that. He goes, you know how many lives this thing is going to save right off the bat?
Yeah. That's the thing. And that's we're coming from the trenches. We know what needs to happen in schools to save lives, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And this isn't something you guys just came up with yesterday and said, oh, we'll just do an app. You guys have been working on this for what, over a year?
A year and a half we've been working on it.
Year and a half?
Yes.
And it is ready to go now, as soon as we get a district on board.
Now, you've already spoken with Clay County, correct?
Yeah, we've been.
And you're
talking
working with Clay?
Yeah,
We are working with Clay.
Okay, what about Duval?
We haven't.
Working on them.
We've reached out via email, but we didn't as aggressively in Duval as we have in other districts.
Okay, all my listeners in Duval, get on the phone tomorrow and call up the superintendent's office. All the ones in Volusia County, Polk, Pasco, Hillsborough, Hernando, Orange, Seminole, all around the state.
Nassau.
Get on there tomorrow and call your superintendents and tell them you need this app.
Or send them an email.
Yeah, send them an email. Email bomb them. I mean, just start flooding their emails. But if you call up, and then one thing that somebody had written in here, I was trying to, I guess I'll answer this last question, or I guess it's a statement that they made, that every time after 3 o'clock, they can never get a hold of the staff and stuff because most of the schools shut their phones off after 3 o'clock. So, and then one other question, and I swear this will be the last one. Is there, because this is one I got, and I was talking to Jason about it the other day, and he was supposed to get back with me and answer. The school buses, can this be implemented to also when a school bus has a wreck or the school bus is running late, that the parents can be notified through?
Yeah, the administrator of the school will have the ability to send out a notification that the school bus was in an accident or anything like that to alert their parents. You know, and like I said, it comes across similar to an Amber Alert, so they would get notification through the app, and you know that kind of gives a little heightened presence as far as when they see that come through, they know there's something going on, you know, with their students.
So there's no telling where this thing could go because you guys have, I mean, this is like the baby app right now to the big daddy map or mama app.
That's all right.
Yeah, I can't leave the ladies out. We're getting beaten ahead when I walk into Walmart tomorrow. But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for coming on. Mr. Sherman, Mr. Mike, Mr. Jason, thank you guys for coming in, and thank you for taking the time to do this for the kids and to make our schools and stuff a safer place.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis, and your listeners.
Okay. Okay, guys and gals, I got to get out of here real quick, but I'm just going to say this. You know, there are crazy people out there. It's not the guns that just jump up off a desk and go shoot people. There are some crazy-ass people running around in the world today. The thing is, you're never going to stop them, but you can cut the response time down. Tonight, in the very first segment, go back and listen to it and listen to the 911 call from the Parkland shooting. It took 3 minutes. And that was before dispatch, 911 even got off the phone, trying to get the information. This is a kick butt app. The thing is about saving students' lives and our children's lives. And these gentlemen have taken the extra time and 1.5 years to develop an app that is just phenomenal. And it will save so much freaking time just by getting this app. And with a quick push of a button, it could have been done in less than a minute. What took them 3 minutes before the cops even got notified on it. Now, that's a long time. That kid was already walking out when this happened. That is way too long. To our politicians that are listening, you know, some of you I agree with and some of you I don't. But when it comes to our children, we should all be in agreement that something needs to be done. And I think we've already agreed on that. But nobody can seem to figure out what it is. Until you come up with the perfect solution, this right here is the best thing that I have seen in 40 years of doing radio and newspaper. This is the best thing that I have seen for keeping our students safe. We don't live back in the days when I could walk and put my gun in the closet and go shoot squirrels after school. No, now you have a bunch of idiots running around and a bunch of mentally insane people. The thing is, you're always going to have insanity. It's to stop and try to put a stop to it, but at least slow it down. And I want to thank these gentlemen for coming in tonight. You guys get a hold of your legislators and your congressmen and your senators. Get a hold of Governor DeSantis. He does read his emails. Ron does read his emails. Chris, put up that app one more time for me if you don't mind. It's called My Safe Schools. You can find the link if you go to the Putman Way. You can go back there and you'll find the links in the mini comments. You'll find the links. It'll be also in the back. Actually, it's up in the top header, is it, Marie?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's already posted in the link on the top. So make sure you go there and get a hold of, you know, Rick Ernst we've already talked to, but it won't hurt you to call him and tell him. And get a hold of all your representatives, your school superintendents, your congressmen, your legislators, and get them to get this app in. The quicker we do it, the more lives will be saved. Now, every night before I close out, I always ask you guys and gals to go up and thank people in the military, our veterans, our current service members, our law enforcement, But you know what? Tonight, I want to tell you guys and gals to go up and thank a teacher. They don't get near the recognition for the crappy pay they get and for putting up with your little snot-nosed brats. I have a couple snot-nosed brats myself, and I tell you what, my kids are perfect in my book, but you ask my neighbor, and they'll tell you they're a pain in the ass. So you guys and gals, make sure you thank your teachers. Call them up tomorrow and just tell them. And like Diane said it, our kids deserve it. It's not about the parents. It's about our kids. So make sure you go up and thank your teachers and tell your kids, don't take them any apples because I wouldn't trust them. To give them cash. That'll work. All right, well, I got to get out of here. We'll see you guys and gals back here on Wednesday night. We'll have Greg in here pissing people off. Remember, we're going to be giving away a lot of stuff. We also have the Fort Gates thing coming up. There's a golf tournament that is going to be happening. Wednesday night, I'll be giving away some of these for you dumbasses that don't know the Constitution. You need to get one of these books, or if you're uneducated, give them to your kids, start teaching them. That's what this country was founded on. We have hats, all kinds of stuff that we're giving away this week. Oh, yeah. And from the Oaks up there, I don't have my Oaks hat on. I got the Alabama ones because they've been kicking ass lately. They always do. But the Oaks is Mr. Adam down there is putting on a tournament to help out Fort Gates Ferry. It is about to come to fruition, ladies and gentlemen, finally after 2 years and 3 months. So, all right, well, good night, Diane. Greg, I got to give my shout-outs to Annette, Audrey, Mr. Steve, Cindy Shaw. Oh, hell, you guys want to give a shout-out before you get out of here? Click them back on. You guys better tell your wives, girlfriends, or whatever. I know you better say something to Tracy, Jason. I know her. She will whoop your ass. Hang on, we're going to get them back on here. They haven't walked out of the studio. I just caught them. Give me a shout-out, Jason.
I'm give a shout out to Tracy. I love you.
I'd like to give a shout out to Reagan, Izzy, Luke, and Drew.
Give a shout out to Shatia and Robert and Rico and all my students.
Yeah, all my students also, and my son Gavin.
Also, there was another gentleman involved with this.
Hank
Barnett.
Hank called me up before the show. So we'll give Hank a shout out. Hopefully next time he could be in there. Thank you, gentlemen, again. I'm out of here. We love you guys. This is, what do we got? Take it to the breakdown.
Introed. We have Snuggling with My Demons.
Oh, yeah. Kurt Fort Meyer. Struggling with my demons. All right. I'm out of here. We love you. Thanks for listening. And thank these gentlemen. Good night.
Good guy way too long, followed every rule, holding back instead of acting like a full-grown fool. When bad intentions came to call, I firmly stood my ground, till one day I said screw it all and I turned my life around. Yeah, I told my better angels they could go piss up a rope, not come back unless they brought a sack of killer dope. I'm smoking packs of cigarettes and drinking quarts of beer, snuggling with my demons, and I kinda like it here. Now everything that's bad for me becomes my comfort food, and from time to time I take a pill to elevate my mood. I'm coveting my neighbor's ass and things that I can't have. I bathe myself in misery like it's medicated salve. Since I told my better angels they could go piss up a rope, not come back unless they brought a sack of killer dope. I'm smoking packs of cigarettes and drinking quarts of beer, snuggling with my demons, and I kinda like it here. As long as I got gas to burn, I won't talking